they made two really good decisions. Well,
Yeah, what were the two?
I was gonna say the name change and then me, but the me was your decision. So you know what? You earned your stripes back on that.
There we go. Thank you.
Job.
Thank you so much.
How to survive the classroom.
Hey, teacher besties. Welcome to How to Survive the Classroom. Today, we are doing something a little special up top. Before we bring Gerry into the episode, I have Annie Ceccatelli here. She is the Chief Product Officer of Turnitin, which most of us teachers are very familiar with this company. Annie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, and I'm so thrilled to talk to you because Turnitin is, I feel like leading the charge right now in education and AI. And it's a company that I know I've personally used and trusted for many, many years as an educator. I'm really excited because it really seems like Turnitin is addressing the nuance of AI and the importance of integrity. And I think for me as an English teacher, especially, it was always like an uphill battle with getting my students to write their own papers before AI. And now it exists. And I think, I feel like I have a million questions, but we want to respect your time. We only have you for a few minutes. But I would love to hear from you on what you think is a responsible way to use AI in the classroom right now as educators.
So I'm going to give you a non-answer answer that isn't satisfying, but it'll get us started.
Great.
Which is, I'm not sure I understand what responsible use is, other than responsible use is about transparency, it's about communication, and it's about collaboration between the teacher and the student. I think we're at a point now where we're all trying to learn what is responsible. I think it's easy to know what isn't, right? We can see how it can be misused. But as we start to go beyond just basic academic integrity and thinking about learning integrity, right? About what does it mean to think? What does it mean to solve a problem? I think we're learning how AI can support those efforts of a student as opposed to just take them over with the student going on autopilot, which allows for them to not learn. And many times when we talk to so many teachers and students, many times students don't even realize they're doing it. They're not trying to have misconduct. Like there are some for sure, but there are many students who are just trying to learn how to use these tools, but unsure of just the guardrails as well as the impact on their future.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned guardrails, especially because a lot of schools, I think, are still trying to play catch up. Like there are so many schools that still don't have an AI policy at all. So if a teacher is out there and they're saying like, hey, my school doesn't have a policy, I'm kind of on my own here in knowing about AI and needing to put out some kind of guidelines and guardrails for students. Do you have any guidance on where they could get started with that?
Yeah, it's funny. So my husband is a high school English teacher. So I get a lot of feedback from him as well as I learn the struggles that he's dealing with in the classroom as well. I would say with anything that you're teaching students, right, a conversation around it is always a lot more productive than just handing out a red light, green light, yellow light, which we see like a piece of paper. Right. Yeah. I think that it does require a conversation so that students understand not just what AI is doing, but what you're asking the student to do themselves and why you think it's useful. I think that that's true about any assessment, but why you're asking the student to think through the things that you're asking. So I do think it starts with there. If I were a teacher, I would say I still don't think they're enough. Right. I understand that there's like the don't use it at all and you can use it fully. And that's not really the problem. It's not those two pieces. It's that whole middle. And I think that that's really difficult. I was just reading one, even an hour ago, and it was explaining how to reference how you use AI. And that alone was like 2 pages. And I was like, oh, so that's how you would do it. I think that that's even difficult. I think to acknowledge the difficulty, even when you're trying to do it the right way, is really important so that then we have some grace and patience. But that is all about transparency, right? If you're a student and you're just using it on the side, you're not actually working through that with the teachers, with the rest of your class, right? I think this is a really interesting time to be in school and to have a point of view and to learn from it and think about what that's going to mean for your future. And so I recommend all teachers have a thorough conversation at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting too, to make that part of the dialogue, because really we're modeling what our students are going to have to do in the future. I mean, I feel like every single day I'm seeing a new AI tool that is coming out. And then I, as a professor of future teachers, have to figure out what I'm comfortable with using to prepare my material, what I'm comfortable with teaching my future teachers to use, and that extra step of like, okay, how can we prepare them for this world that is different every single day? And AI is moving so quickly. And I think that teaching them that conversation piece, I think you're right, is so incredibly important, because saying simply no AI, I mean, I feel like any teacher in a classroom right now is like, good luck. Like you say no AI, even if you make them do everything paper and pencil until the very last second, it takes literally 3 seconds to simply just produce something very like exact to the prompt. And so I think you're right. I think that transparency piece is really important. And I think it's really interesting to being in the position that I'm in, and a lot of teachers, where we're learning how we feel about these guidelines and guardrails along with our students, because maybe we did something and we're like, I actually don't love that. I don't love the
they didn't hit right, which I say. I mean, same in the workforce. We're dealing with the same thing. Is like, if we see how AI was used in a work product and you think it's okay, but then it lands in a way you're like, actually, I don't like that, right? I'm learning what responsible use is through how you're feeling and reacting to it. I totally agree.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one of those things that is a challenge too, because it's hard to communicate the gut feeling we get sometimes, that we're like, I don't love that. Like, we've got to improve the transparency, or we got to improve some step of this process. So, well, I am going to let you go, but I wanted to see if you have any message for teachers that are navigating AI right now, any final nuggets of wisdom for them.
Hang in there. That's what I got for you. I think it's a very difficult time, and you are front lines. I think there's a lot of administrators who are grappling with it in a very different way, and they have the grace of time. Like, they can have time to figure it out, but you don't. You're a teacher. Somebody just turned something in. Like, you have to make a decision. There's no putting that off. And so I have incredible respect, and patience for figuring it out. And also, like, it's always good to admit what you don't know, especially to students. Students appreciate that. That makes you more authentic, and they see that we're all in this together, and they're part of the solution then.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Annie, thank you again so much for chatting with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you too.
All right, guys, we will be right back. I know you just cannot wait to hear from Gerry. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome to How to Survive the Classroom. I'm Andrea Forcum.
And I'm Gerry Patoka'd.
And you guys, today is a big day for multiple reasons. I think the first reason is this is our season finale. So we are going to take a quick break, and oh my God, Gerry can't even stop playing with his toys long enough
that's not
for
what
me
I'm
to
doing.
finish the intro. He got a new toy.
Could you hear
and
me?
I could hear whatever that was.
No, my microphone's like far away from my face. I was trying to fix it. But I had stuff in the way.
Oh my gosh, it was a toy. It was a Spider-Man watch.
But I really had stuff in the way. I was trying to I thought I was being nonchalant about it.
You were the most chalant. It was definitely not nonchalant. So it's our season finale. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back in August, and we are very excited. It's going to be super fun. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, Gerry, tell the people what you have officially done.
I submitted my edTPA.
Yes.
I am done. I have I have to put a bow on the program, finish some stuff up. But I feel like a weight's off my shoulders. I Patoka'd it. I literally got to it, and I was like, 10 minutes left. I said, man, it's 10 minutes left. But I got like 20 minutes worth of work. I was like, God. I'm cooked. And then I go online, and I'm like, what's that? That's Pacific time. I was like, I got 3 hours. I put my feet up. I was like, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, guys, I need you to understand how close to the deadline Gerry was. because
I was 2 hours before the deadline.
yeah, like you submitted it at like 1 a.m. Eastern time,
Yeah.
and it would have been due like midnight at Pacific time.
It would, yes. And it
Yeah.
was because I was like cutting it close, and I kept seeing all the items when I would submit them and mark them for ready to submit. It would say Pacific time. I'm like, hold on. And I go look, and this is what Patoka'ing something is I 100% put myself in a predicament where I was like, I fell short. It was game 7 overtime, and I blew the lead and lost the game. And then suddenly they put 4 minutes back on the clock, and I go on a generational run. I'm like, I'm cooking. Look at me, man. I'm cooking.
Wow. Do you want to share with our wonderful community what did you write it about? Like you had like, because some people don't even have an edTPA, and so you're supposed to like record yourself teaching and analyze it, right?
Yes. So what I did was I teach a career exploration marketing class for 8th grade. And I did the 4 P's of marketing. So we did a guided note sheet on the 4 P's, and I walked them through, and I gave them like sentence structures for them to go fill in words here and there, and I justified why I did that. And I had I call them openers and closers, bell ringers and exit tickets. And then the next day I played a movie trailer, and we looked at the movie trailer, tried to identify the 4 P's in that trailer, and then I put them into random groups. Well, not random. I made their groups and put them into groups and randomized lists of products for each group number where they could pick sign their product, and they had to find an advertisement for it, identify the 4 P's and be able to explain it. And then they had some questions like, what would you change? What would you do differently here? And then I had them play 4 corners, but like with the 4 P's. So I'd read a scenario and they had to go to the corner they thought it was, and then we took a test on it.
Jerry, that's really good.
I
Yeah.
cooked low key.
Yeah. You had them moving, you had them up. Like, that's a really creative and engaging lesson plan, guys. I mean, I'm very impressed.
I
That's
know.
really good.
And one thing though, when I realized, like, when I had to like watch myself
Yeah.
teach, I was like, yo, I'm talking way too much. I just was saying the same thing, and I'm like, yo, I'm boring. And I think I put a video on Instagram. I was like, I gotta start climbing on the desk or something. I gotta learn some
Yeah.
tricks. I'm like, I'm boring. I'm watching the kids just like look at each other, and I'm like, oh no.
Watching videos of yourself bomb in front of a bunch of students. I don't know if that's worse than watching clips back of bombing in a comedy club. Neither are fun.
The bombing in the club is worse. Because when you're not getting laughs and you're teaching, it's like, yo, if I'm not getting laughs, I'm teaching, I'm probably doing my job. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It is brutal when you know people have like paid their money to come and see you, and you just disappointed them. They paid like $25 to be bummed.
Do you have a tell when a joke bombs? Like, do you have something you do?
I've tried, because actually, and I will say this, guys, I will absolutely say this. One of the people I've seen recover from a joke that fell flat the best was you. I was so impressed. I don't remember. I think it was one of the first times you came on Teacher's Lounge with us.
It was in Raleigh.
It was in Raleigh. It was like,
I said,
yeah,
try some shit on the fly. It didn't work.
Yeah. But then you tied it back. You're like, wow, okay, I tried it on the fly. It didn't work. You guys ever do that in a lesson and it just doesn't work? And it killed. Like, it absolutely recovered. And I feel like you got even a bigger laugh than if the first joke had worked. And I just remember being like, damn, like, I got to figure out how to do that. And I've gotten better at it where I'm not so frazzled. But I definitely, it depends on my mood. Weirdly, I feel like my shows are more dictated by my mood when I start the show than even like necessarily the audience. Like, if I'm in a good mood and I'm vibing and I'm like, because it is about confidence, right? Just like when you're teaching a lesson, if you're up there and you seem like you don't know what you're doing, kids can pick up on that. Same thing when you're doing comedy. I don't feel like I have a really good tell. Steven can always tell.
Do you have, no, like, I'm not like, can you tell? Do you have something where like you say or do when, I guess it would still be a tell, because I reason I asked that is because we were talking about bombing. And a buddy pointed out to me and said, you have a tell when you bomb. They said, when you tell a joke that didn't fall flat and they know, you kind of just look down and you go, hell yeah. I do that every time. I'm like, hell yeah.
But I actually think that's like a funny way of like recovering it, where like people are just like, that's kind of weird. And then you're like, hell yeah. And then people are like, that's weird.
Yeah, but after
like, it made it weird.
Fourth hell yeah, people are like, maybe
it's maybe
this
too
guy's
many.
not good.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy sucks.
Gosh, I do that. I'm trying to think of the phrase I use, but I absolutely do.
I've gotten better, but I still do this. I tip my hat after a punchline, no matter how it goes. If I thought someone was going to laugh, I touch my hat.
But you don't usually even have a hat on.
Yeah, dude.
Do you? Do you?
Most of the time. I've stopped doing it some. If I shave my head that day, I sometimes won't wear one. And part of it's so I won't do that and won't have to feel it. Because sometimes I'll mess with it and it's just sitting crooked. I don't touch it again. And but then I do like I think if I've seen Shane Gillis do this, I'll be like that. I'll just kind of like
and Shane Gillis, I think, is the master of leaning into the discomfort of his audience, whether you like his jokes or you don't. Like, he crafts jokes in such a way that he knows he's saying things that are going to make people uncomfortable and uses it in a way that I think is incredible. I'm trying.
It's so fun.
I will say, and I don't know if we've even talked about the roast of Kevin Hart on here yet. I don't think we have.
I didn't watch it.
I tried and I had to turn it off. And I like roasts usually. But I really didn't enjoy the jokes that were being put in there because to me, they felt kind of lazy. Like the jokes were all black jokes. If it was a woman, it was always like slut shaming jokes. And if it was Kevin, it was like a short joke and a black joke. And it just, to me, I'm like, none of these are specific enough that show that you actually know this person.
Yeah.
Like,
they're all like, just kind of like racist. And it's like, that's why I don't like roasts. I've been asked to do roasts before.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I said, why do I want to spend time writing material for something when I could be writing actual material? Why do I want to spend time writing material for something where I'm going to feel competitive, I'm going to be mad if I lose, and I know that it's just going to go at my weight. I'm like, if I wanted to hear somebody call me fat, I would just like go to work. Like, I'm not going to go get called fat by a guy who works at Exxon. Like, I'm not doing that, man.
Yeah, there's a comic I'm friends with, and he made a comment that like he went to an open mic night, I guess, and the host made a fat joke about him when he came up. And I just like, to me, that's so, I feel like the slut shaming jokes, the black jokes, the short jokes, like those are, they're lazy. Like they're lazy and they're not funny and they're usually mean spirited. And I don't really like mean spirited jokes. Like I will say I get the closest to mean when I talk about districts and administrators on my shows. That's the meanest I get. But even then, I don't go in super hard because I would feel bad and people would feel it on me that like it's not me to be like cruel to people, especially in the context of doing crowd work and stuff.
If it's funny, I'll give it to them. Like, I'm like, if it's a fat joke, but it's funny, I'll let you have it. The problem is when you give people those, they feel like they can keep doing them.
Yeah.
And like, I've had to say stuff to people before. I'm like, all right, you're doing too much.
Well,
and it's like, it's stupid.
It's so rare for it to be clever. Usually it's just the lowest hanging fruit and there's just no reason to do it. And so I don't know. I always like, even whenever I see anything about Nikki Glaser and they just do slut shaming jokes the entire time. And I'm like, that's all you could think of? That's it? Like, there's nothing about her as a person. There's nothing about, because I think that's why her roast was so good when she did the roast of Tom Brady, is like, she did her normal, like, oh my gosh, I want to sleep with Tom Brady type stuff. But like, there was a lot more to it that made it, I think, more creative. And so I don't know. I kept thinking about that when I was watching the roast. The part of it that I watched, I couldn't watch all of it because I like Tires, I think is one of the funniest sitcoms that has come out
Tires is pretty funny.
It's so funny and so, like, they've surprised me several times on that show, so I don't know if you guys have seen Tires. It is not one to watch with children, I would say. There are some wild jokes in it, but it is, like, I think going back to, like, some pretty funny writing that I feel like we don't get a lot of these days because people I don't it's not even like, oh, people are too sensitive. It's more like there's so many different people that can get offended by stuff that it's like you got to pick one group to offend sometimes. Otherwise, like the comedy is probably not landing as hard as it should in a lot of ways. Although,
Yeah,
I guess Nate Bargatze has figured out how to do it, and he's just sold the most
there's
tickets of
definitely a way to do
any
it.
comic
It's
ever.
hard, and especially like with what you're allowed to like put on TV, and it's like it's like I can appreciate when they're not making fun of someone,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
it's hard it's hard to come out. But it's like on Tires, like yeah, these guys are just rocking. They're just
yeah.
having fun. Like
It's I think that's the thing, right? Is like it's fun if there's love behind the joke and everyone's in on the joke. It becomes not fun when like there's one person that's getting picked on and is not in on the joke. Like then I don't love it. Okay, so going back to your edTPA real quick, because we probably have some listeners that actually will have to do an edTPA. Do you have any tips, any nuggets of wisdom for people as they get ready to do it?
you better ask all the questions, do everything from the jump. Because I waited until I was like ready to start doing the work and turning it in to pay for it. But if you until you pay for it, at least if you can do this, I didn't know how. I had to get the handbook with the rubrics and everything once I paid. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna want that to try and learn what to do.
Yeah.
And most like colleges and programs have and my program is self-paced. I just never clicked the button to go through it. I'm like, I wish I had read some of this before I was like trying to do it. And I kind of waited till the last minute. It's like if you procrastinate, it's like, man, it's just a trench. I can see how people like if you can I was lucky that since I procrastinated, I was like, I'm glad this is like my 5th year in education.
Yeah.
It's my 4th year teaching, 5th year in education. I'm like, I can kind of okay, I know what I'm doing. Let
Yeah.
me here's what I'll do this. And even still, I'm like, man, there's some things I wish I had done differently. Like I wish I had had an extra assignment in there before we did the group project. I'm like, yeah, I wish I had some extra stuff. Because I think it would have answered some prompts better. Unless you're the one grading mine, you're listening. I did everything perfect. But it was hard. I am very anxious if I passed or not. I need to pass the first go around, or it's gonna make my life very difficult.
So
But
when will you find out? By the time our break is over, will you have news for our listeners?
yes, I think so.
Amazing. Okay, good. Yeah. So that is really solid advice. So actually read the course materials and access the rubric so you can know what you're doing.
I'm gonna put it like this: if you're listening and this is the last you hear of it for a while, like after the break, like if we come back from break and we don't talk about it,
Don't ask. He's crying.
we come back from the break and
Yeah.
it'll get mentioned. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't ask.
Okay. Also, I think you owe my mother an apology, you guys. I You guys have obviously you've heard my mom, she's been on the pod, and Gerry, was it an AI thing that you use, like some sort of
It was
filter?
a filter of face tattoos, and I posted on my Instagram story or something else. She was like, "Please tell me, these aren't real." And I kind of like, I didn't know if she was playing or not, so I went, "They are."
And she
And
believed him, you guys.
and she responds to a lot of the stuff I put on my story.
Yeah.
And she responded to that. I was like, I'll mess with her. And then a few days went by. I texted Andrea. I said, I think your mom thinks I have face tattoos. And you went, my mom definitely doesn't think I have face tattoos. Then I sent you the message and you said, Gerry, tell my mom you don't have face tattoos. And it
Because
looked
I
real. And low
it did
key,
look real. It
I
looked
look
real.
good.
It don't get face
I
tattoos.
look good. I look good with them. I look like Jelly Roll. Like
you did look like Jelly Roll, actually.
At his highest, but like when, like I look like Jelly Roll, and I was like, yeah I kind of look good.
We're still not going to do it. But yeah,
she slid up on something today, and she said I posted something about buying Spider-Man Crocs.
Yeah,
and she said you should do it because it would annoy educator Andrea, and I said that's a good enough reason.
My mom's out here just trolling me from the corners of the internet. I love that for all of us.
Every 3 weeks, she's like, "Have you gotten your real ID yet?"
She's really concerned about you. She asked me just like the other day, "Has Gerry gotten his real ID?" And I was like, "Probably not, Mom. He's doing his edTPA." She's like, "I just think he needs to do it."
Mama Candy, I got one for you. My car taxes are expired too. It just happened a couple days ago.
Gerry.
It just happened, and I was so locked down on edTPA, I forgot to go get it done. So I'm gonna go do that this coming week after work one day. But yeah, I'm riding dirty right now.
My gosh.
My plates are expired.
She's gonna be worried. She's gonna be real worried. Hopefully by the time this comes out, whenever this episode comes out,
it'll be done by like Tuesday.
Okay, Mom, you're going to have to DM him on Instagram and ask if he's actually gotten it done, because he says he's going to get it done before this episode comes out. So I guess we'll see. We'll see.
When's this episode come out?
In like 3 weeks. So you've got some time.
Yeah, because I'm gonna try to start Uber driving and stuff again, make a little side money. I can't Uber drive when my plates are expired, so I gotta go get it done.
All right, we'll see. Okay, let's take a very quick break, and we will be right back. Have you ever wondered what I would say if my mother and my administrators weren't watching every single thing I do on social media? Well, that's exactly what my stand-up show is, and I'm going to be coming to a town near you super soon. You can get tickets at educatorandrea.com/tickets. Welcome back, Teacher Besties.
Teacher Besties.
Too late. You were too late. He's been trying to jump on my intro. Too late. You slacked on it. Okay, so the questions that I have this time are questions I actually got from my uncle. I don't know if I've dropped very much of my family lore. I think I've talked about my grandfather on here, who turns 100 in a month, actually.
Oh, I thought you said he turned 100.
He's going to turn 100 in a month.
We have a party?
Yeah, we are. I'm going up to Michigan. It's going to be great. And he had 12 children. And then they have all the kids. It's a very big family reunion get together in July that's happening. But one of these uncles, one of the 6 uncles I have on that side, is actually going to become a teacher. He was in business management and all of that kind of stuff, and he didn't really want to do that anymore. And so now he is actually going to be teaching kind of the same classes that you are, Gerry. It's like a life skills class that he's going to be teaching. So he had a couple of questions for us to answer. And I figure because this is coming out in the summer, we also likely are going to have some people who are just finishing their teaching program looking for jobs. So I wanted to see, let's see, he asked, I'm looking for a teaching job. What should I do to prepare? So when looking at districts, not everywhere. Not everywhere. So that is true in a lot
true.
of
Some
the
places
country.
they'll hire you if the body's still warm.
No, some places can still be choosy. Like in California, it's still hard to get a teaching job for a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, because teachers do get. Here's the thing. For the cost of living level in California, the pay did not keep up. I was not making 6 figures in California. I actually saw a paper the other day that was like, teachers make an average of $120K in California. And I was like, no, they do not. I had 2 master's degrees and 9 years experience, and I was making 70. Like, that's not, and the cost and the housing there is like $1 million for a not nice house. Like, you're not getting to, I don't understand that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Very. So teaching jobs, some places you have to work a little harder than just having a pulse or recently having a pulse. And I also have this advice in my book. They never taught us that. Get it everywhere books are sold, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. But I wanted to see if there was anything in particular you did, Gerry, because you got hired also, obviously, before you had your license. And now you're like finishing the edTPA and all of that. So what kinds of things did you do when you were looking for a job? Like when you prepared to go to an interview, can you think of anything that you did ahead of
So when
time?
I got hired as a teacher's assistant in a special ed classroom. And I was trying to teach. I was applying for teaching jobs that I thought I was interested in. I kind of just wanted to be in the school system, so I was applying for anything that sounded. I didn't know a media specialist was librarian,
Yeah.
and my degree was in media stuff, so I applied for media specialist and did not meet the qualifications. But they called me, and real in hindsight, they bamboozled me hard. They was like, "Hey, how about being an instructional assistant?" And I was like, "Okay, I just want to work in teaching." So they call me and I do the interview. I get hired on the spot and I show up and I was a teacher assistant for 3/4 of the school year. And then I wanted to teach and I was willing to teach about whatever. I just wanted to stay where I was. And I actually interviewed for ELA and they said, "Okay, what about PE?" I was like, "Word." Because he knew my principal, he got hired a few months. The principal who hired me, I was in an interview with an A, the principal, an AP, and an instructional facilitator. They all left at the end of that year.
Oh
The
my
principal who
gosh.
hired me resigned 3 weeks after I got hired to go open a new school. And we had an admin intern. I tried to get her to push me through so I could get the temporary license. I interviewed for social studies, didn't get it. The guy they hired only stayed for like 12 weeks and he left. And I was like,
You're
could
like,
have had
well,
me.
should have hired me.
Yeah. And then all that to say is my principal knew before I did that I would have been the worst ELA teacher on the mat. And he's like, "How about PE?" I was like, "Sure." And then I taught PE for a year before I ended up in business because we lost that PE position. And he knew there's like two other things I was actually interested in teaching. And he was like, "Well, they're both gonna might open up, so you can pick one." I was like, "Word."
So I guess one option for people could be through like a side door of being an instructional assistant, an aide of some kind.
Or
I
a
feel
sub.
like,
Go be a
or a
sub.
sub.
And just, I mean, if you are sub and you like a school, you can probably, if you're on it, pick up a job there every day. And
Okay.
they get to where they like you. Then when they come, I know we have subs, we'll move them around different spots. Once we know some of the subs, we'll put them where they fit best when they
Yeah.
get there. And we've hired people as to be IAs or to be classroom teachers because they were subbing first. So yeah, probably do like I did and go be an IA or a teacher assistant or whatever they call it. In your district, I think it's different everywhere else. Or sub there. That would be a way for them to see your face because they're always hiring for those positions. They
Yeah.
just don't pay great.
Right. And so it's kind of biting the bullet in the short term in the hopes that you get a contract for the next school year. I would say the same thing about long-term subbing. Like that is the most ideal, I think, because then they see you as a teacher, you get kind of like a schedule, a routine. The students will kind of get to know you. It is a nice way of kind of getting like a practice run, a paid practice run, as opposed to student teaching. Because I like my uncle, I know that was his way in was he was doing a long-term sub position. And then now in the fall, they're looking to place him doing like a business life skills type of class. So long-term subbing is a really good one. I would also say do a lot of research on the schools and talk to the teachers about what it's like teaching there. And some of the things that I think you should ask are like, what are the adjunct duties that you need to do? And are those paid? So things like, oh, do you have to go after school and do bus duty? Okay, how often? How are you doing lunch duty every day? Like stuff like
They're
that. Because
paying for that?
some schools will have like paid adjunct duties, not necessarily like lunch duty and stuff, but some schools don't make you do much lunch duty or any of that at all. Like the last school I was at, we didn't have pretty much any of that. We didn't have lunch duty, we didn't have bus duty. They had other folks that did all of that. So that would be one of the main questions. Also, something else that I think is really important is asking about if there are shortages on subs, who is then going to fill that place. So is it going to be Gerry because he wants to earn the money? And is it paid? Because that's the other thing. I worked at a school where if they just needed somebody, they'd call you and be like, you need to fill. You need to head over to that classroom and cover because so-and-so's gone, and you just wouldn't get paid for it or anything.
That's the
So
way mine is. And I get it to an extent. If that's the predicament you're in, that's the predicament you're in. Like, I've
yeah,
gotten a little better. I used to crash out when they'd ask me. I would spaz, but because it felt like I was getting asked all the time,
yeah,
but I was at work. I'm like, I'm here every day. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. There are people who aren't here every day, and I'm being careful what I say because I'm not dissing anybody. I know everybody's situation's different, but it's just like, and now they kind of have it where like, if you've missed a bit, it's like, yeah, you're probably next up to have to do duty, especially if somebody has to cover your class. If somebody
yeah,
has to cover for you, you're probably going to be covering next. And it's like, if I don't like it, it's fair.
yeah,
But then there's other times where it's like, yeah, if I've been here every day, I shouldn't be having to cover for
right.
everybody during my time. But then sometimes they split coverage between us, so we're not giving up a whole planning period.
Yeah. Yeah, which is nice. I did appreciate it when they offered payment. That was always really good, but that didn't happen when I was in Virginia. It was only when I was in California where there is a bit of a stronger union presence. All right, this next question that he asked, I am very curious if you have an answer for this one. What books or resources do you recommend? Other than my book, of course, they never taught us that, obviously. But
I'm glad you said it because I was going to be slick and say it. And I'm
uh-huh.
over here like, shit, what's the name of Andrea's book?
Obviously my book, obviously, but other than that,
Before I answer, you want to hear some bad? Sometimes I confuse the name of your book and our podcast. They in my brain, they've both been
yeah,
said. Some of they run together, and I'll accidentally say the wrong. I'm like, that's not it. My bad.
I do the same thing. And worse, this podcast used to have another name, and
What was the name of this podcast?
it was Those Who Can't Do.
Oh, I'm glad you changed that. That one sucked.
It didn't suck. It was a good name, but it wasn't very searchable. Okay, Gerry, I liked it. I thought it was really funny because it was like a tongue in cheek, and the whole team was like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I was like, it's gonna work, and it didn't work, and so we renamed it. But I liked it. I will die on the hill that I still think it's a good name.
Yeah,
And
a good call, team.
you know what?
They've made two really good decisions. Well,
Yeah, what were the two?
I was gonna say the name change and then me, but the me was your
Yeah,
decision. So you know what? You earned your stripes back on that.
there we go. Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you so much for your approval. Yeah. Are there any other resources that you can think about? Like, even if it's like a website.
I'm trying to chat GPT. No, it is the AI is nice. I know people hate it and people don't like. I use it not as like I don't let it do the work for me because it bothers me when it's just completely AI.
Yeah.
But it's nice to like help you think about things like, hey, what am I missing here? What's an idea? How can I implement this? Like, I think it's a good. I know that's not really the answer you're looking for, but I feel like it has changed the game a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
um,
The I
I
mean,
don't know.
that was my advice to my uncle was like Magic School I think is one of the
Magic
first
School
ones.
AI,
Yep.
yeah,
Is
Magic School's sick because it's like it I use a bunch of different ones for like my personal, but it's like I've been able to upload video before, and I don't know any other ones where I can do that, where I can put a video and it spit out questions for me.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That one's cool. Diffit,
I
Diffit
don't
is
know that
another
one.
one that I think is great. But yeah, that and then Edu Protocols, which is a book that talks about different strategies for lesson planning and framework. So those were the ones I told him about. And then, basically it was like, I'll
I didn't
also bring
read
my book.
any books. I'm trying to
Ever?
think of the one. So in North Carolina, with your first 3 years, you're in a beginning teachers program where you have a mentor, and I don't know what other states do it that way. But they had books they would let us go through, and some of that stuff was interesting. But we wouldn't. We would go through it kind of like by chapter for what they thought we needed. And
Okay.
I can't remember the names of them. I didn't like go read any teaching book. I was just kind of winging it. I feel like I'm just gifted.
Other than my book, obviously, which you've read cover to cover,
I bought your book.
guys.
My book. Your book is the only book on my coffee table right now.
It's the only thing saving your coffee table from getting rings on it.
I know there's rings around it. There's rings on the book. I'm playing.
I know. That's what I was saying. Probably it's just sitting there, little.
I do have I did tell my instructional facilitator. I showed it to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I want this." I'm trying to get her to order. She does the BT stuff. I'm like, "You need to order Andrea's book." I said, I looked in there. There's some big words. I think she knows what she's talking about.
There's some big words. That is, yeah. I should have had you do an endorsement and just be like, I looked in here. There are some big words, Gerry Patoka'd.
I'm like, look, y'all. This look like I'm like, this looks really important.
It looks like legit.
This looks like she knows what you're talking about.
I know. Honestly. Okay. Do you have a hill you're going to die on today?
Not really. The edTPA thing felt like a big waste of time for having been. I don't get why I still have to take a test to prove to you I can teach when they've been letting me do it as lateral entry. Like I think that was enough.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to speak ill on it because I'm waiting on results. But the reality is, it's like, why are we making it so? Why do I have to pay to take an edTPA? Why do I have to do all this when we need teachers? I've proven to you that I can do the job.
Yeah.
I've proven to you that I'm capable of doing this. Why do I need to go out of my way and bust my ass to prove it to a company who don't know me?
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous to me. Like I don't get why we're doing that. I think it needs to be done away with. I get the purpose it serves, and maybe if you're coming out of college to earn a teaching degree, but if you're also allowing me to teach without the teaching degree and earn my certification while I'm teaching, I feel like that should be able to replace me having to take the test by doing the job. Because no edTPA is going to prepare you for how you actually do the job. Because I hate to bring it to you, while I think the edTPA it was good stuff, and I will definitely think about stuff differently after doing it. I'm not doing it like that every time. It's just not feasible. It is not feasible to think that this is the protocol that I'm going to be going through and thinking about and implementing, because a lot of this, it's like it's on autopilot. If you're not doing this stuff in general, you're not good at your job. I shouldn't be having to write out in detail. I mean, I guess it is. You're not having to do this process every time. You're just explaining how you came to this, which I guess makes sense. But does it make sense that I'm this coming school year would be my 5th year teaching? I had to take this test to make sure I could get to my 5th year teaching. I'm like, this is stupid. This is a waste of time. Again, I think it serves a purpose. It does make me think about the work I'm doing and think about why I do the things I do. But also at the same time, it's like, I'm doing this. Why do I need to prove it? I feel like if I'm teaching and these things aren't being done, then that's up to my admin and up to my PLCs and people like that to point out and make it better. Why would we wait and let some tests catch this when I've been functioning as a teacher for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I hard agree. I always felt like the edTPA came too little too late. So if it, like, not that the stuff in there, like you said, isn't valuable stuff, but you should be learning that stuff in your ed program. It shouldn't be stuff that you're like suddenly now finding out in year 4. So yeah, I would agree with that. The hill go ahead.
So it wasn't something I suddenly found. It was definitely something I procrastinated on. But it's like, I'm in a self-paced program. Had I done the program and everything correctly and done it in a timely manner, it's like I would have found it. But it's something that's like, it probably serves a better purpose when you're in a college classroom earning the degree and can have people guide through you. Because I talked to a lot of people who said, yeah, we spent a year on this. Or there's a place that made us do this 3 times through before we did it. And then I've not met anybody who said, yeah, I just knocked it out, whatever. They're like, everybody's like, no, it's a beast. And it's, why are we giving people a beast for a job that underpays that we need people to do? You know who should be doing edTPA stuff? Doctors, where people need to survive. I shouldn't be needing to do it to tell you what promotion is. And that just felt, I don't know. It was like rubbing me the whole time doing that. I'm like, I get the purpose. I don't think this is a waste of time, but I don't get why it's purposeful to me now. Be like, having been in it, you know?
Agreed.
But unless you're grading mine, then I loved every minute of it. But
A+ passed. Yeah, obviously. No, 100% agree. So most of the teachers who are listening are on summer break now as you listen to this. And my hill that I'm going to die on is related to that. It is that teachers should be allowed to absolutely couch rot as long as they want when they get onto summer with absolutely zero guilt. I know there are some people that really enjoy spending their summers brainstorming and prepping for the new year and doing all of that. But if you just finished your school year and you just want to sit and watch TV and chill and do nothing for a week, 2 weeks, and that's what you need, then I think you should be able to do that. And I don't think you should feel guilty about it in the least, because that is what teachers need after the year ends. Because that's the thing that I keep hearing from all of these career switchers who went from teaching to other jobs. And people in other jobs are like, oh, I wish I had summers off. And what I keep hearing from people who switch from teaching to other jobs is they're like, I didn't need a summer off because I wasn't burned out in the way that I was as a teacher. Which I think is really interesting, that like the other jobs are just so much less stress than teaching, that like you don't even need a summer break because it's all good. You're just doing your job, going home and all of that. So yeah, there you go. Gerry, do you have any wise words for our people as they rot this summer and anxiously await the start of season 3?
Gang, gang, baby.
That's right. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. That's it. That's all we're really doing to is hell yeah. You know?
There it is. And guys, you can keep up with us on our social media. You guys know I'm at Educator Andrea. And Gerry?
I'm at Comedy by GP.
Yep. And we both have shows this summer. I'm most of the time they're like a few months out that I let everybody know. I actually am doing a show in Chicago that I only scheduled like a month out because that's just how the schedule worked out. So check our websites, educatorandrea.com/shows, and you can see where I'm going to be. Got a bunch of big shows in the fall. And if you're in like North Carolina, you're definitely going to be seeing Gerry with us because he's going to be on the Teachers Lounge show there, which is going to be so fun. So fun. And if you have thoughts about what we talked about today, I do want to know if there's other things you think people need to be doing before they go for their interviews, any resources you think that new teachers should have. You can contact us, Andrea at human-content.com. You can contact the whole Human Content Podcast family at Human Content Pods. And while we're on our break, if you guys could just do us a real big favor and put a review, a 5-star review, that would be amazing. And tell Gerry how proud you are of him because he did it. He turned in his edTPA, and then we will find out in a few weeks if he passed it. And you want to check out the full video episodes, which are up every week on YouTube at Educator Andrea. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Andrea Forcum.
And I'm Gerry Patoka'd.
And our executive producers are Andrea Forcum, Aaron Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor is Andrew Sims. Our engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is by Omer Ben-Zvi. To learn more about How to Survive the Classroom's program, disclaimer, and ethics policy and submission, verification, and licensing terms, you can go to podcasterandrea.com. How to Survive the Classroom is a human content production.
How to survive the classroom.
Thank you so much for watching. Want more of How to Survive the Classroom? You can watch more episodes right now. Just click on that little box over there. You see it? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.